my reading notes for Get Off Your Butt by Sean Stevenson. Written for the active, not passive participant, this book offers an inspiring program for overcoming big bumps in the road, eliminating excuses, ending insecurities, and standing up for happiness and success in life. Based on the author's personal story, clinical training and work as a therapist, and extensive experience speaking and teaching, Get Off Your Butt shows how to overcome excuses for emotional paralysis, build self-confidence at work and at home, and achieve a higher level of success in career and relationships. Get off your butt now. Vulnerability, the glue of connection. The most effective way to find common ground is by sharing our vulnerabilities. As hard as we work at maintaining an appearance of having it all together, we actually connect best in those moments when we admit we don't. Trying to appear perfect and superior kills connection. Think about it. When was the last time you heard someone talk on and on about his accomplishments and strengths and you ended up feeling closer to him? Never. We bond through our imperfections and shortcomings. Authenticity and vulnerability are the glue of connection. So let's make some glue, shall we? 1. In your journal, make a list of 10 things that are slightly embarrassing about yourself that no one would ever guess about you. The more ironic, the better. Here are some examples. Even though I'm an accountant, I must use a calculator for basic math. I'm a nutritional coach, yet sometimes I crave Spam and Cheetos. I'm an author, but I don't like to read. 2. When appropriate, at a dinner party, not a job interview, share some of the items from your list. These insights into your authentic self are pure gold to share with people whom you want to connect with. They show that you're not pretending to be someone you're not. 3. When you find yourself in a group of disparate individuals, you can bring the group together by doing a little detective work to find out what everyone has in common. Share your own interests. You'll be surprised how quickly the group relaxes and connections start forming. Connecting through conversational ping-pong. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone who was painfully boring and seemed to drone on forever? If you want to master the art of connection through conversation, just remember to play verbal ping-pong. I love to talk, so I have to check in with myself all the time. Sean, has the ball been on their side of the table much during this conversation? If the answer is no, I quickly say that I've been going on about myself, but I really want to catch up on what's happening with them. You can't fake it though. Talking for an hour straight about your life and ending with, "Gotta go, by the way, how are you?" is not going to cut it. Neither is asking them a bunch of questions about their life but not sharing anything about yourself. In order for people to feel connected to you, they need to know how you're doing, what you're up to, and how you've been feeling. If you hide behind a battery of questions, a person may feel as if you care about him, but he will have nothing invested in you. I often hear people say, "I do all this connection stuff, but I'm just too busy." We all fall prey to the idea that we don't have enough time, yet time is the only commodity that we've all been given an equal amount of. The excuse of not having time is never really about time. It's about priorities. If you don't set making connections as a high priority, you'll never feel that there's time for it. Ironically, when you don't spend a little extra time connecting with your friends, family, lovers, and colleagues, you'll end up spending tons of time on the back end repairing hurt feelings and enduring endless amounts of drama. We can't procrastinate when it comes to making connections. When we see the window of opportunity, we must reach out and connect. No buts about it. In fact, I believe we put ourselves in real danger when we refuse to connect with others. I've read that doctors who don't connect with their patients on a personal level are far more prone to being sued for malpractice, even if they didn't do anything medically wrong. This is because the second a patient has a pain or complication, he'll find it easier and more natural to think that it must have been caused by the doctor who didn't really care about him. Get off your butt! Fun with connecting. Shunship. A quick connection with strangers can make both of you feel great for the rest of the day and teach you one of the most important lessons about connecting. It's fun. 1. Make a silly face. Make eye contact with the person you want to connect with, and then make a silly face, simply to make her smile, and then smile to show your intent. Obviously, you'll want to keep this appropriate to the context, but given the right time, place, and person, you'll be amazed by how much you can brighten someone's day with a silly face, and how good it makes you feel in return. 2. Make a hand sandwich. Next time you're introduced to someone who reaches out to shake your hand, Place both of your hands comfortably around his, making a nice hand sandwich. Look deep into his eyes, smile, nod, and say, "It's a pleasure to meet you." He will connect with your warmth as genuine, and it will be. 3. Play What I Love About You. This is a great game to play on a road trip or when you're sitting around the dinner table with your friends, family, or a lover. Go around the group taking turns saying what you love about each other and listening to what they love about you. 4. Play the question game. This is a great game to play when you want to connect with someone and get to know her at the same time. The premise is simple. You take turns asking questions about each other. The more creative the questions, the more fun the game. For example, what's something about you that no one would ever guess? If you could eliminate one negative thing on this planet, what would it be? Warning, this game is not truth or dare, be nice. Connecting with others is never about appearing to be perfect, and it's about much more than being nice or polite. We make connections when we open up our authentic self and share the things that make us all human. The good and the bad, warts and all. It's also about using genuine emotional tools like listening, focusing and empathy to step into the world of another human being as best you can, making both of your realities happier, safer, and more fulfilling. And there's a bonus. The more you connect with those around you, the more support you'll get from others. It's the act of truly connecting, not only with other human beings, but with yourself, that is step 1 in getting yourself off your butt. Lesson. Watch what you say to yourself. I just rolled into my office when the phone rang. Sean, I have a daughter. And she's only in 3rd grade. Her voice was starting to break. And every day she comes home from school crying. Why? She was born with a rare condition where her fingers were grown together at birth and her hands are webbed like a frog's. Her classmates call her weird. Her voice trembled on the verge of tears. Is there anything I can say or do to make her feel good about herself? My heart went out to her. Can I talk to your daughter? When I heard that girl's adorable little voice over the phone, my fears and anxiety melted away. Hello, she said, sniffling. Hey, darling, how are you? I'm all right, she whispered, with a voice that could break a giant's heart. Just all right, huh? Well, what's going on? I imagine she looked at her mom for reassurance. People call me weird and different because my hands, they look like frogs. Her voice trailed off in disgust. I knew I had to do something radical to change the course of this little girl's deformed self-image before it got any worse. I'm going to ask you a very important question. Are you ready? Okay. When people meet you, do they remember you? She paused for a few seconds and then replied, Yeah, everyone remembers me. Then you're not weird, you're not different, you're memorable. I am? I'm memorable? She pronounced it to rhyme with adorable. That's right, sweetheart. Cool, she squealed. The power of words. Words have power over us. I know, we're taught that sticks and stones may break our bones, but words will never hurt us. That's not really true. Unless you're some kind of yogi who's dedicated your life to the release of the ego, words can certainly hurt you. Words are more than just letters squeezed together. They're packages of emotions. Loving words can make us feel wonderful. Hurtful words are toxic. Think about it. If all you did was unpack toxic packages every day, you'd eventually get sick. Simply becoming aware of words as emotion packages can be transformational. You'll see right away that people actually do live in their language. Positive people use positive and uplifting words. You look great. Negative people choose negative and cynical words. You'll never get that job. Why try? People who feel victimized only use the vocabulary of victims. I never get what I want. People who are always sick talk only of their sickness. I'm just not doing very well. People who are extremely gracious speak only of their gratitude. I'm so glad you were able to come today. It's no coincidence that good words make us feel good and that hurtful or angry words make us feel bad. There is a 100% correlation between the words we choose and how we feel. Get off your butt. Pay attention to words. For the next 24 hours, I want you to pay close attention to the word choices of everyone around you. More specifically, listen to the language they use to describe their feelings. I feel like I'm trapped. Their life. I'm just hanging on by a thread. How their day is going. Same crap, different day. The people in their life. My father is an idiot. Their future and their past. I'm going nowhere fast. I'm betting you'll notice something right away. Very happy people use a happy vocabulary, and those who are always angry use an angry vocabulary. Once you've observed people's language, even for one day, it will give you a refreshing awakening to the concept that we live in our language. Weeks had passed since I'd spoken to the little girl with the webbed fingers. I had travelled to half a dozen states and seen thousands of people, and from time to time I wondered how she was doing. Then her mother phoned again. "Sean, Sean, Sean, you're never going to believe this." She was shouting, excited and out of breath. "Calm down and tell me what's going on." "My daughter is so confident now." "That's great. What happened?" I asked. She marched into school and went up to all of her classmates who were making fun of her and said, "I'm not weird. I'm not different. I'm Mem or Abel, and you're going to remember me for the rest of your life." Ha! I can't thank you enough, Sean. My little angel is free to be herself. Words can heal and words can kill. Words hold the power to destroy, but they also hold the power to create. This is because words do more than define our experiences. In many cases, they actually create them. That's right. Don't say anything at all. Most of us only think of that phrase in terms of how we talk to others. But what about how we talk to ourselves? If we say something nice to ourselves, it can be wonderful, encouraging, uplifting. And if we say something negative or critical or depressing to ourselves, it can be absolutely devastating. What about that little voice that lives inside all of us? It's constantly talking to us. During the day, it chatters in the background, making us feel insecure or sad. And at night, it narrates our dreams and nightmares and keeps us awake with worry. That voice is not something we need to be afraid of. It's something we need to take control of. I have found that most people never deal with their inner voice until it gets too loud and starts acting disrespectful or to escape this internal turmoil. We often numb ourselves into oblivion by overeating, watching too much TV, having impersonal sex, drinking too much alcohol, using drugs. The list goes on. For some people, the inner voice gets so hurtful that they believe that the only way they can shut it off is by taking their own life. This is not the outcome I want for you or anyone else in the world. Like good parents of demanding 2-year-olds, we need to take control and start parenting our inner voice. If we catch ourselves saying mean things to ourselves, "You're too fat," no one will ever love you. You can't do anything right. We have to intervene and say, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean that." We must respect ourselves. Practice talking to yourself the way you would talk to a best friend, a mentor, or someone you really look up to. Trust me, life will place plenty of obstacles in your path that you can't afford to be one of them yourself. Be your own best friend. I've been fascinated with self-talk ever since I became a therapist. It's a dialogue that we rarely listen to consciously. Why? Maybe because we're too distracted by ourselves, being critical and negative about who we are and what we're doing. Meanwhile, our own inner voice is doing a hatchet job on us. It's true. If you talk to your friends the way you talk to yourself, you probably wouldn't have any friends. I have worked with enough people to know for sure that we are harder on ourselves and meaner than we are to anyone else. It's silly to worry about what others might be saying and thinking about you. Whatever they're saying, it's not really about you. It's about them. In fact, what people say or think about you is a direct reflection of what they may be feeling about themselves. Don't even think about it. If you want something to concentrate on treating yourself with more respect. Sadly, I am no longer surprised to find that men around the world beat themselves up internally, especially in the area of dating. My online magazine for men, innergaymagazine.com, is an educational forum designed to help guys learn how to develop into confident, proud, successful, and genuine men. Every day we get email from men struggling with what I call inner game dysfunction. I'm a loser. I can't think of a more unattractive phrase. If you tell yourself every day that you're a loser, those you're attracted to will sense this on a deep intuitive level and want nothing to do with you. It's as simple and brutal as that. Get off your butt now. Eavesdrop on yourself. Start eavesdropping on the conversation you're having with yourself. 1. Spend one day simply noticing what you say to yourself. Write it down in your get off your. But now, journal as you go through the day. Do not alter or judge these statements. Simply observe them and write them down as if you were a clinical scientist. 2. The next day, review these statements. Ask yourself, would I say this to my best friend, my boss, my child, or my mentor? 3. Write down a list of 10 things you would like to start saying to yourself. Remember, we can't change what we don't acknowledge. Once you start listening to that persistent voice, you'll be surprised by how often you'll catch yourself saying mean things to and about yourself. Keep listening. Get off your butt now. Replace your negative self-chatter with an uplifting voice. Replacing your negative chatter with an uplifting voice is going to take some practice. Here's a successful activity I do whenever I'm stuck in a negative self-talk loop. 1. Take 3 deep breaths in through your nose and let them out through your mouth as slowly as possible. Think only about your breathing. Visualize the air coming into your lungs as a soothing color and returning out through your mouth as an even brighter and more soothing color. Even if this all sounds a bit new age, woo-woo, do it anyway. 2. Pick one word or phrase that lifts you up, something that empowers you. A phrase that makes you feel that you are unstoppable and the most loved person on this planet. For me, that phrase is I am infinite. 3. Visualize an image that correlates with your empowering phrase and really see it. Make it even bigger and brighter in the movie screen in your mind. 4. You should already be in a better state of mind than you were before you started this exercise, so this is a good time to have a heart-to-heart discussion with yourself. Tell yourself all the empowering things you need to hear, words you wish your family, friends, co-workers and lovers would say to you. Most negative self-talk centers around 3 specific language patterns I call the but triple threat. But fears, but excuses, but insecurities. Dealing with your but fears. Have you ever noticed that whenever you find yourself in a new situation and you're not certain of the outcome, it feels natural to be afraid? Your heart starts to race, your stomach does acrobatics, and you begin sweating in places you didn't even know you had. That's also when your negative self-talk often kicks in. But what if I fail? But what if I look bad? But what if I disappoint everyone? Just about any phrase that starts off with, but what if, is simply fear attempting to work its way into your life. This acronym has been used so much it's a cliche, but cliches are cliches because they tend to be true. So here it is again. Fear is false experiences appearing real. That's all it is. Think about it. How many of the things you've been afraid of in your life have come to pass? Not many, if any, right? It's purely a waste of your time and energy and emotion to worry, but what if? Instead, step in and ask yourself these questions. What if my fear is wrong? Who says this fear is true? What if the best case scenario plays out instead of my worst case fear? This young woman had grown up in a household where her mom was always worried that something bad could happen. Once we started tweaking her, but what if? Fears, her reality shifted. I explained that every time she had a fearful thought, she should stop and ask herself these 4 questions. 1. What would happen if that did happen? 2. What wouldn't happen if that did happen? 3. What would happen if this didn't happen? 4. What wouldn't happen if this didn't happen? When you order your mind to stop obsessing on the worst case scenario and put it to work finding alternative outcomes, it gets distracted. I use this formula every time I find myself frozen in a romantic dating scenario. If I'm at a dance club or bookstore and I see a young woman I want to approach, yet my brain produces a but what if? Fear, I immediately step in and scramble the pattern so that I can get unstuck. Only then am I able to relax and be myself. We're so afraid of looking bad that we forget no one's looking at us. Just like you, other people are looking at who's looking at them. Bottom line, but what if? Fears are a complete waste of your time. 9 times out of 10, whatever you're afraid of is not dangerous or life-threatening. In fact, it's probably not even real.